sure everyone would like to hear your thoughts on that side about AGI.
Yeah, so I actually have a lot of thoughts, things that concern me about artificial intelligence. And like, once again, in the short term, the things that I'm concerned about are, privacy in a world where we have constant AI surveillance. Like, what does privacy even mean? We have very little, we're about to get a lot less. Manipulation of consumer purchases. We just have a lot of data that we can use to make somebody buy something that they really don't need. Misinformation. We can generate massive amounts of propaganda and misinformation with GPT-3. In fact, I think there's currently more AI generated text on the internet than produced by all the humans on Twitter, is what I had heard recently. Wow. So that's huge. And then exploitation, very scary stuff happening with like the deep nude technology and deep fake technology being used to exploit people in ways that we really need to have strong laws against very soon. And then there's, bigger picture stuff like bias and discrimination, and creating like self-reinforcing societal issues because we're biasing in certain directions that then feed back down to further discriminate those groups of people. And not having transparency in our models is a huge potential problem with that. And then there's just, a lot of hype about AI. With any new technology, there's always going to be a lot of hype, and the hype is pretty big right now. A lot of promises being made that just can't reasonably be met by modern AI right now. But in the longer term, I think, the weaponization of AI is a huge concern of mine. And, these systems are literally one switch away from being fully autonomous, weapons. And so right now, luckily, we have humans in the loop of every kill decision that's being made. And thankfully, there are a lot of data scientists and AI experts who all signed a petition, petitioning the United States government and the military against allowing fully autonomous weapons, which so far so good. But all it takes is one conflict and someone who doesn't believe in this ethic that could essentially make that a totally different ball game. Our labor economy, I think we're expected to see something like, 600 million jobs? I can't remember the exact number. It's probably around 500 million jobs disappearing by 2030 from automation due to the risk factors of those specific jobs. And then the economics of that, like how do we redistribute resources in a society where most of the work of value is actually done by machines rather than humans? Historically, we've used our labor as a way to redistribute the wealth of society. So we're gonna have to come up with a system that can essentially fix that. That's gonna be tricky because there's a lot of pros and cons to universal basic income, negative income taxes, social stipends, and all of these other kind of universal basic ownership ideas. And then a lot of societal problems as well too. If you've got a society filled with AI generated misinformation for the purposes of disrupting, political campaigns or, through the media or whatever, that's a fundamental problem to democracy. If you can't have an informed, educated or based on the truth, what's actually happening, you can't make informed decisions as a people. And then the biggest of the concerns is, once we finally do get to like artificial general intelligence, what is the purpose? What is our purpose as human beings in a world where most of the work of real economic value is done by machines? Either it's a very good thing for us, and we're essentially freed from the toils of manual labor and knowledge work, redundant knowledge work that we don't want to do, or we essentially become obsolete to the labor economy.